I almost dropped the dumbbell on my own damn foot when I saw him. Ethan freaking Carter. Standing there with that smug grin. Wearing the tightest black tank top the universe had ever cursed me with. "Long time no see, Ryan," he said. Voice dripping like honey and venom all at once. The world spun. 5 years of silence. Of pretending he didn't exist. Came crashing down in the middle of an overpriced Los Angeles gym where I was just trying to shed a few pounds and maybe move on. But no. Life had other plans. Life wanted to put Ethan Carter, the man who shattered me, right in front of me with biceps the size of my regrets. I laughed. God. It was either that or scream. You've got to be kidding me. But he wasn't. He was my new personal trainer. I should have walked out. I should have requested someone else. I should have done literally anything other than what I did next. Stare at him like a deer in headlights while my heart sprinted a marathon. Still hate cardio, he teased. Pulling a clipboard from under his arm like this was just any other Tuesday. Like he hadn't ripped my soul out and left me bleeding on a dorm room floor back in college. I clenched my jaw. Still an arrogant jerk. His grin widened. "So you do remember me?" I remembered everything. The late nights. The stolen kisses. The promises he broke without blinking. The way he walked out without an explanation. Leaving me drowning in questions and whiskey. And now here he was. Inches away. Smelling like cedarwood and sweat. Looking like every bad decision I'd ever want to make twice. "Look," I snapped, grabbing the towel from my bag like it was a weapon. "I'm here to work out. Not perfect." He cut in smoothly. "Then let's work out." He clapped his hands like a goddamn coach. And I hated how my stomach flipped when his hand brushed mine while adjusting the bench. Heat shot through me. Uninvited and unwanted. Or maybe not so unwanted. That was the problem. I laid back on the bench, forcing myself to focus on the barbell above me. Not on Ethan's hands spotting me. Not on the low chuckle when my arms trembled. Not on the quiet. Breathe. Breathe. Just like before. Before. That single word cracked something open inside me. I pushed the weight up with a grunt. Every muscle screaming, but not as loud as the memory of his voice whispering my name in the dark. By the time the set ended, I was drenched in sweat and anger. Mostly anger. Probably. "You've lost strength," Ethan said, too casually, like he wasn't aware of the nuclear war going on in my chest. "Life happens." I shot back, sitting up. Some of us don't have time to live at the gym and what pose for thirst traps. His lips twitched. "You follow me." Shit. Shit. I said nothing. Which said everything. He leaned in. Close enough that his breath brushed my cheek. "You still blush the same." I shoved him back. Hard enough to make him laugh. That sound it used to be my favorite thing in the world. Now it felt like salt in an old wound. "Don't," I warned. My voice didn't sound as sharp as I wanted. "Whatever you're trying to do, don't." He tilted his head. Green eyes glinting with something dangerous. "I'm just doing my job. Right? And I was just a guy trying not to drown in the ocean of history swirling between us." But as the session went on, something shifted. Every time his hands adjusted my form. Every time his voice dipped low to guide me. I felt the years melting away. Underneath the anger was something raw. Something I'd buried so deep I thought it had died. And then, after the last rep, when the gym was empty and the lights were dim, he didn't leave. "Ryan," he said softly, almost a whisper. I froze. Water bottle halfway to my lips. "Stay a little longer." My heart stuttered. Every rational bone in my body screamed leave. But I didn't. Why? I asked. And God, I hated how small my voice sounded. Ethan's gaze held mine. Unwavering. Because I owe you the truth. The truth. 2 words that tasted like broken glass. I don't want your truth. I lied. And maybe he knew it. Because his lips curled in that infuriating way, the one that always made me want to kiss him and punch him at the same time. Then don't listen, he said softly, stepping closer. I should have walked away. Should have grabbed my bag and bolted. But my feet were traitors. And the scent of his cologne familiar and sharp wrapped around me like chains. 5 years. I murmured. 5 damn years. Ethan. You vanished. Do you know what that did to me? His jaw tightened. For a second. Something flickered in his eyes, guilt. Maybe regret, but it was gone before I could name it. I know, he said. And I'm sorry. I laughed. Bitter and hollow. Sorry doesn't cut it. I didn't have a choice, he said quickly, urgency cracking his voice. Ryan, my dad was sick. Cancer. I dropped out. Moved back home. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to throw away everything for me. The words hit like a freight train. My mouth opened, then closed. Because what do you say when the storm you've cursed for years turns out to be mercy in disguise? I would have gone with you. I whispered. I know, he said, pain threading through his tone. That's why I couldn't let you. Silence stretched between us, thick and aching. The hum of the AC. The distant clang of weights, it all faded until there was only him and me and the ghosts of who we used to be. I hated you. I admitted. I hated me more, he said. And then we were too close. His hand hovered near mine, trembling like it wanted to close the gap but was terrified of what would happen if it did. My pulse roared in my ears, drowning out every warning. Don't. I breathed, even as I leaned in. But he did. The kiss wasn't soft. It wasn't gentle. It was 5 years of rage and love and everything in between colliding in a single, desperate crash. My fists curled into his shirt, dragging him closer. Because if this was wrong, I didn't want to be right. When we broke apart, I was shaking. From anger. From relief. From the terrifying realization that I was still his. And maybe I always had been. This doesn't fix us, I said, voice ragged. I know, he murmured, forehead resting against mine. But it's a start. And maybe that was enough for now. The next few weeks were chaos. Training sessions blurred into stolen glances, into late-night conversations that bled honesty like open wounds. He told me everything, the years caring for his father, the funeral, the rebuilding. I told him about my empty nights, the relationships I sabotaged because none of them were him. It wasn't easy. God, some days it was hell. I'd snap. He'd withdraw. And we'd circle each other like boxers in a ring. But every time I thought about quitting, about cutting him out for good, I remembered the way his hand steadied me on that bench. The way his voice said my name like a prayer. One night, after a brutal workout, I collapsed on the mat. Sweat slick on my skin. Lungs on fire. Ethan sat beside me, silent for a long time before speaking. Ryan, he said, tone careful. What do you want from me? Really? I stared at the ceiling, counting the cracks like they held answers. I want to stop hurting when I look at you. His hand brushed mine. Then let me make it right. I turned to him, saw the hope carved into his face, and something inside me cracked wide open. Because the truth was, I didn't want him to fix the past. I wanted him to be my future. Okay, I said, barely above a whisper. And that was it. That single word, fragile and small, rebuilt something I thought was beyond saving. 3 months later, the gym looked the same. The same racks, the same mirrors, the same obnoxious pop playlist blasting from the speakers. But everything felt different. Because now, when Ethan adjusted my form, it wasn't a secret. When his hand lingered on my waist, it wasn't an accident. And when we locked eyes in that mirror, there was no history-haunting Usenly possibility. After closing one night, we sat on the floor, backs against the mirrored wall, sharing a protein shake like idiots. He glanced at me, that stupid smirk tugging at his lips. You know, he said, I never thought we'd end up here. I laughed. Yeah, me neither. He leaned in, pressing a kiss to my temple. Worth the wait. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man who broke me. The man who saved me. The man who taught me that love isn't perfect. But sometimes, it's enough. Yeah, I said, smiling like my heart finally remembered how. Worth every damn second. And for the first time in years, I believed it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.